Now the last theory lesson on electromagnetic induction 12, I will be deriving mutual inductance of two long coaxial solenoids, coaxial. Actually the derivation starts from here, but before I start from here, I have to explain these two diagrams to you first, right? So what it is, look, this is a coil made of a conductor, and each coil is a helical path, and the length is very large than the radius, so it is called a solenoid. Similarly, this is another solenoid S1, this is S2. The length are same. The length here and the length here are same, right? But the number of turns per unit length here and the number of turns per unit length here are different. Now, here if I pass current I2 through this solenoid, let N2 is the number of turns per unit length, means let the total number of turns here is N2. So in length L for this, the total number of turns is suppose N2. And this can be 10, 20, 30, so. So in unit length, the number of turns will be N2 by L. This is called small n2. Now, and in magnetic effects of current, we had derived for a solenoid at the center, the magnetic field will be, it was derived like this. Mu naught, number of turns per unit length, into current. B was derived as in mu naught Ni, right? Since air core, therefore mu naught. N is number of turns per unit length, I is the current. Here I am taking current I2, so, and number of turns per unit length for this coil as N2, so mu naught N2 I2. And R2 is the radius of each turn, right? Now similarly here, in this coil, solenoid S1, if you pass current I1, then the magnetic field at the center, B1 will be mu naught, using this expression, mu naught N1 I1, where here N1 is the number of turns per unit length. Here let the total number of turns is equal to N1. In length L, this many turns are distributed. So in unit length, number of turns will be N1 over L. This is written as small n1. That is what I am explaining here. At the center, this will be the magnetic field. This can be written as number of turns per unit length. For this, number of turns per unit length, that is small n2. Here number of turns per unit length is small n1. Here the radius of the coil is R1. As you can see from the diagram, R1 is slightly less than R2. So you can put this coil, this red one, this solenoid into S2. This can go inside it, right? Now let us, so this is the explanation. Now let us come to the derivation part of it. Actually, we are not passing current simultaneously through this solenoid and this solenoid. No. We will pass current in one solenoid, let's say through this solenoid first, and this solenoid is inside it. We are not passing any current through this. When the current passes through this solenoid will behave as a magnet. One side B will be a north pole, the other side B will be a south pole. If from this side the current is anti-clockwise, this will behave as north pole, this will behave as south pole. So this solenoid will have its own magnetic lines of force, like this, own magnetic lines of force like this. And when this coil is put inside it, these magnetic lines of force, the magnetic lines of force due to this one, that is due to this magnetic field, will pass through each turn of this solenoid S1 because it is inside it. Will pass current through this. So this will behave as a magnet, At the center, the magnetic field will be this much. So its magnetic lines of force originating from north, passing through south like this, will also pass through this if this solenoid is inside this. So these lines of force, when S1 is inside this, these lines of force will pass through S1. Means each turn will be associated with a flux. And if that flux changes, there will be an EMF developed across S1, due to which current will be induced, right? So that is what we are going to study now. So now look at, now look, when put coaxially, when this is put inside this, it looks like this. It looks like this. Now, I am passing current I2 in the solenoid S2. I am giving current to this. Which kind of current? The current that changes with time, time varying current. This passes through this black solenoid, this shown in black, S2. I2 passes through this side, comes out through this side, and S1 is now inside S2. S1 is now inside S2. That is shown red here. We know from coefficient of mutual induction, the flux is equal to M times I. Therefore, the flux in S1, in this one, due to current in S2, due to I2 in S2, will be, using this expression, the flux in S1, that is the red solenoid, will be phi 1, will be M12 I2, where M12 is called the coefficient of mutual inductance of solenoid S1 with respect to S2. This is the coefficient of mutual inductance of S1 with respect to S2. This is we get this by using the direct expression that we derived from electromagnetic induction lesson 11. Now let us calculate it in a different way. How much is phi 1? Then we'll find out M12 is how much, right? So now let me come to the next phase. Now, therefore, the total flux associated with all the turns of S1 will be how much? The phi 1 will be field of the second one, that is B2, area of each turn of S1, and the total number of turns. Of course, I have not written cos theta here because theta is 0, so cos 0 is 1. So let me write 1 here. So B2, that is due to this, by passing current I2, the magnetic field due to this is B2. That is, I have explained here, mu naught N2 I2. So B2 is equal to mu naught N2 I2, area of each turn of S1, pi R1 square, because radius of S1 was taken as R1, and this solenoid has how many number of turns? Total number of turns here is equal to N1. So multiplied by N1 will be the total flux. So for B2 I substitute the value of B2, A1, pi R1 square N1. Now what will be N1? In L length the total number of turns was N1. So in unit length the total number of turns was N1 over L for the solenoid S1, the red one. So this was called as small n1. So from this, n1 will be small n1 into L. So for n1, I put small n1 into L. So this becomes phi 1 is equal to mu naught into I2 pi R1 square n1 L1. So this is the phi 1, right? Now let us rewrite it. Mu naught n1 n2 pi R1 square L, then I2, I2. This is flux by calculating individually in each turn and finally calculating the total flux associated with S1, the solenoid S1 due to the magnetic field of S2. This is calculating this way. And this is by using the expression from EMI lesson 11. So this, now comparing 1, the left side of 1 and the left side of 2 are same. So the right side of 1, so the right side of 1 and the right side of 2 and the right side of 2 are same. So therefore from 1 and 2, M12 I2 is equal to, this is same thing as this. Now I2 cancels. So we are left with M12 is equal to mu naught N1 N2 pi R1 square L. And what I had explained this? The coefficient of mutual induction M12, coefficient of mutual inductance of solenoid S1 with respect to S2, right, when both are coaxial. Now mu naught means inside both the solenoids there is air. If it is filled with a magnetic material, this has to be replaced. This is called permeability of a vacuum. We will study about this in magnetism. Like permittivity in electrostatics, relative permittivity. Similarly in magnetism we have permeability. This is called permeability of vacuum. If the solenoid core is filled with a magnetic material, as core, then this becomes M12 is equal to the relative permeability times the permeability vacuum. So this becomes the permeability of the magnetic material. Magnetic permeability means to what extent it allows the magnetic lines of force to pass through it. N1, N2 pi R1 square L, right? So now this can be rewritten as M12 is equal to mu naught. This N1 was number of turns per unit length for this solenoid, N2. That was equal to capital N2 over L. Capital L2 was total number of turns from here to here. So N1 can be replaced by N1 by L. And N2 was number of turns per unit length in this solenoid. And this solenoid has a total number of turns N2 was distributed in length L. In length L, this means total number of turns. In this solenoid, in length L, total number of turns was N1. So per unit length is equal to N1 by L. This was written as a small n1. So small n1 can be replaced as by capital N1 by L. So here, from here, this N1 is replaced by N1, capital N1 over L. Similarly, N2 for this one, in length L, total number of turns here is equal to N2. So for this, in length L, total number of turns is N2. So per unit length is equal to N2 by L. This was written as a small n2. This was written as a small n2. So cross multiplying. Let me rewrite again here. It was not visible. For this, total number of turns is capital N2. For this, total number of turns is capital N1. Here the length is same. Here the length is same. So here, I am writing here. In length L, total number of turns is equal to N2. So in unit length, the number of turns will be N2 by L. This was written as small n2. Similarly here, in length L, here the red one, in length L, total number of turns was equal to N1. So per unit length, the total number of turns is equal to N1 by L. This was written as small n1. So cross multiplying from here. So these two we have to remember, have to be clear about. So N1 is replaced by capital N1 over L, N2 is replaced by capital N2 over L, pi R1 square, L, L. So 1L cancels, so we are left with magnetic mutual inductance of S1 with respect to S2 is equal to mu naught, N1, N2. This is nothing but the area divided by L because 1L cancels, right? Because 1L cancels. Now let us, so actually it is finished here, right? Now let us look at the reverse case. What do you mean by reverse case? What do you mean by reverse case? Here S1 is inside S2. We passed current I2 in S2, due to which its magnetic flux was linked with S1. And if that flux was changing, an EMF was developed and there was a current in S1. Now we'll pass current in S1. And we'll see whether it gives the same result or not, whether the mutual inductance comes out to be same or not. So that is what I am doing in the reverse case. Instead of passing current through S2, let us pass current through S1 and find out M. And let us see whether this M will be same as it was before. Before it was M12, now it will take as M21, and we'll see that both are actually equal. So that is why I am going to explain. Let I1 is equal to current in S1. So due to this current at the center of the coil S1, there will be a magnetic field. Due to current here at the center, there will be a magnetic field, like this or like this. So therefore flux associated in S2 will be phi 2 is equal to M21 I1, where the M21 is the coefficient of mutual inductance of solenoid S2 with respect to X1. We'll find out this and we'll see that this is also same thing as M of 1, 2. Now, so this is from electromagnetic induction lesson 11. Now the flux, and we know flux is equal to field into area into cos theta and total number of turns. Now the current is passing through S1. So now the current is passing through S1. So at the center the magnetic field will be B1. And these magnetic field lines will now pass through each turn of S2. So we'll take the magnetic field of S1 and area of each turn of S2 and the total number of turns in S2 to find out the total flux. So now the flux is equal to BA cos theta number of turns of S2, not S1. So therefore let the flux is equal to phi 2. So B1, the magnetic field due to S1, area of each turn of second one, that is S2, cos 0, number of turns in S2. B1, that is due to the solenoid S1. This is your B. Area of each turn of S2, that is the black one, is equal to pi R2 square, because for this black one, I had taken the radius as R2. So each turn will have a radius R2. So the area of each turn will be pi R2 square, and there are N2 number of turns. So that will be multiplied by N2 to give you the total flux. So B1 area pi R2 square, cos 0 is 1, because lines of force are passing normally through each turn of S2. And this is the total number of turns in S2. So this is same thing as this, pi r2 square into L. Into L. So if you rewrite by arranging properly, this comes out to be mu naught n1 n2 n1 n2 pi r2 square I1 L. Now you compare the right hand side of 6 with the right hand side of 5, because the left hand side of 5 and the left hand side of 6 are equal. So therefore this is equal to this. So by compare, so I1 cancels. So we are left with M21 is equal to mu naught N1 N2 pi R2 square L. This is same thing as M12 if R1 R2 are nearly equal. If R1 R2 are nearly equal, then it will be the same. Now that is what I am going to explain now. Now compare 7 and 3. Since both the coils, both the solenoid S1 and S2 are tightly wound, so the radius are nearly equal, let it be R. Therefore M12 is equal to M21 if the radius are equal, let it be capital M. So mu naught N1 N2 pi R square L. So this can be written as mu naught. This was number of turns per unit length in the red one. Right? So that is equal to total number of turns N1 by the length of the red one. So N2 was number of turns per unit length in the black one. So N2 was the total number of turns, L was the length. So capital N2 over L is small n2. So capital N1 over N is equal to your small n1. Since the radius are equal because they are tightly wound, so R1 is nearly equal to R2, so pi R square. So now 1L cancels. So this can be written as mu naught capital N1 capital N2 area of each turn divided by length is the coefficient of mutual induction between two long coaxial solenoids. So I calculated in both different ways. First passing current through this, then finding the mutual induction with respect to this, then passing current through this and finding the mutual induction, and both come out to be same. Right.